Wellman chips it out wide. Hurd and Broadbridge, the go-to man. James Hurd, what a mark.
You reckon that's probably just about do it. Oh, the man, James Hurd, he's done it. What timing? What timing? Supreme timing from a supreme player.
Who would have thought timing would become so relevant? 6,200 days later, and we haven't won a final. Yes, I checked. 6,200 days. I want to talk about it.
We get our chance.
It's not something I want to talk about, but I want to talk about how our coach, Ben Rutten Truck, has handled it during the week, because I think it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
Sing it, sister.
Yes, we embrace it. It's part of our history, but so is 16 premierships.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, when you have Nuffy Essendon supporters in the comments bring up 16 flags, I agree. Yeah, we're Nuffies, that's fine. But for your coach to come out and say, look, it's part of who we are, it's part of our history, and we got to change that. We want to change that. This is our journey. Truck's been all about history. You play for the Essendon Football Club, not the club owes you nothing. I think it's brilliant.
Agree.
It's a brilliant approach, classy approach.
It's owning it. It's really taking control of it and saying, this is your destiny to change. It's your
the best thing you can do when you make mistakes. Not that this is a mistake per se. Is
no, exactly. And it's
I'm just filled with this buoyant hope and trust in Truck, in the club, everything at the moment, which I'm not used to feeling. We were just discussing before we hit record how old we were at this point in time when Essendon won a final. I'd just turned 11.
And I was 27, so I was Sam's age. And Sam was my son's age. Wow.
It's been
crazy
a while.
thoughts. Been a while.
You know what?
When
we get that win, it's going to be all the bloody sweeter.
Oh, it's going to be sweet. There's
Right.
going to be some alcohol drunk.
I just wanted to mention that because I think it says a lot about the man Truck, the leader that is.
It's been brilliant. It's been great in his first year.
An approach that maybe fans could take is that, you know, even if we lose on Sunday, there's nothing wrong with what we've done this season. And yes, it's going to be another 300 days before we get another go at it, but it's part of who we are. And
exactly. At some
let's
stage,
just worry about the flags as well.
Yeah.
Because that's a pretty
some
big
stage
deal.
it will pass, and we will be playing in a grand final, and we'll be this is all that matters.
Yeah, precisely. All right. Teams named not that long ago. No outs for either team. For the Dogs, Anthony Scott, Riley West, and Ryan Gardner. Come in for us, Andrew Phillips, Marty Gleeson, and Jai Caldwell. Now,
Interesting. Love it.
The big one for the Dogs, just quickly, is no Steph Martin.
Which is awesome.
For me,
to be honest, I was a bit excited to see that. Yeah.
All week I've been thinking that's a spot where we can really get on top with Draper.
Yep.
If he's in, just a physical ruckman, doesn't take a lot, just a physical ruckman against a younger body of Draper has an impact.
Young Lewis. Well, last week, just to put that in perspective, Lewis against not Laddams, Lysette, sorry. The hitouts were something around the range of 57 to 17.
14, it was
14, was it? Yeah.
No, I don't know.
So,
but
yeah, it was something like that. What was it? The last time we played the Dogs, the couple of times that Bruce came into the ruck, who's not playing this week, Big Sammy Draper just dominated him and slapped the ball down the throat of, I think there was one I remember where Shield was running, bursting out of the centre, and he just got up and just went boom.
And that was a feature of that win, was he was able to hit the ball out of that immediate area, and our guys read it and took it and ran.
Draper's been doing that a bit against the second, we'll call him Ruckman. He's really trying to take it to him and say, no, you're not getting anywhere.
But even if your team doesn't have, if your team isn't a Grundy, doesn't have a Grundy in the ruck or Gorn or someone like that. He tore Zach Smith apart from Gold Coast.
Yep. Anyway, we should do the details before we go.
Well, sorry, we should. Just to back up that point, Draper had 39 hitouts against the Dogs last time out. English and Bruce and Norton had 27 between them. So 24 of them to English, to be fair. But
Yeah. But Bruce is I won't go into it. Go.
Okay. So that's interesting from their point of view is that Martin's not playing. For us, don't see Phillips getting in unless something happens to Draper. Don't see Gleeson getting a game unless something happens to one of those halfbacks, Redmond, Heppel, that sort of area.
Heppel,
Jai Caldwell
pulls up with a sore finger.
Jai Caldwell is the interesting one for us. Now,
I love it.
during the week, have been against the idea of him or Langford and to a lesser extent Waller coming back. All three from injuries, Waller mental over physical. But I don't want to bring guys in that are half-cooked into a final. It's just a bad recipe heading into a final. But today, I mean, it's probably because he's been named, my opinion changed because it's going to be wet. It's a wet game. He's that kind of player.
And exactly. There's two factors, I think. One is that last week in the, we'll call it a practice match against, I think it was the GWS Giants, he played 80 minutes. So that's, and the week before that, he played half the game. So he played 40, 45,
it's got a bit of
like
match
that
fitness.
So plus the block of training he's built up to. Now, we're not expecting a 30 possession, 2-goal game or anything.
No.
But his skill and his touch is really important to our team. And I would be making the assumption that he will be someone like Clark out him in. Now, I'm more than comfortable with that because Clark, he's been really good the last few weeks. There's no doubt about that. But he's a little bit fumbly. He's
the brutality of football is Caldwell's an upgrade on Clark. And that's no disrespect to Clark. Some guys at a football club aren't going to play best 22 every week. You've got to have depth. Clark is a great depth player to have, but Caldwell, he's in that side over him.
Exactly, yep.
You assume, again, we're assuming he plays here, but the interchange is from James Stewart, you assume he plays. Dylan Clark, Matt Guelphy, Nick Cox, Sam Durham, Jai Caldwell, Andrew Phillips, and Marty Gleeson. You assume Durham's Durham spot is safe until Langford comes back. That's that sort of
it'd be strange to swap Durham. The only thing there might be Cox and this is the other
in the wet. I don't like that.
No, I agree 100%. But that would be the only. It'd be more Cox and Durham. For
the only other
candidate team,
for Caldwell there is Guelphy, but I think Guelphy again offers a bit more in the wet.
Yeah, and I think Guelphy plays a slightly different role. I think that if we're going to look at role type, and this is only us speculating, obviously, but Clark for me is the, as you said, the cheaper version of a Caldwell, and I think that Caldwell.
The Kmart Caldwell.
Kmart Caldwell, like it, more like an Aldi Caldwell.
Okay. And Stringer's not Kmart Dusty anymore. Dusty's Kmart Stringer.
It's all
right. Richmond supporters don't listen to our podcast. It's fine. That will be interesting. Obviously, we will have to wait until tomorrow 5 o'clock to find out. 6 o'clock rather. But the build-up's huge. We're
pumped. We're really
weirdly
excited.
positive.
I'm weirdly positive too, Sam. I don't know. I think it's just simply down to the fact that in the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've played as good football as anyone. And we're coming up against a team who I guess we would say is probably playing the worst football out of the top 8.
Especially out of the remaining clubs, yep.
Yeah, they're the only ones to come in with the 3 losses.
Yep.
Everyone else
perspective, our last loss was their last win. They both occurred in the same round. The last time we lost, they won.
Yep.
That was they beat Adelaide by pretty comfortable margin. We lost to Sydney by the 7 points, I think, at the MCG. Yep. No shame in that. Sydney are a good side. But as you say, we've obviously had to beat the Dogs when they were top of the ladder. Now, a little bit of the shine maybe comes off that because they've had a bit of a fall. But at the time, they were top of the ladder, and that was a massive achievement for us. And they still had their functioning forward line, their functioning midfield.
And all they were missing was Steph Martin, which he hasn't played for.
And it's not like their midfielders had a bad game that day either. Yeah. We got on top of Bont a little bit more. He was dominant early though. I think the most impressive thing, and I did a bit of research, which I haven't saved to get exact numbers. I had a look at each of the times we've made finals since 2004. So 09,
11.
09, 11, 14, 17 and 19.
Yep.
I think once before we'd come in with a 3-win, 2-loss ratio from our last 5 games, which is where we're at this year. But only one year did we have a higher Only once did we have a higher average winning margin than an average losing margin. In other years, we've been pumped in the lead up to finals. I think there was one year, it may have been 14, where we got thumped by Fremantle in the lead up by 9 goals and they finished in like 14th place.
Normally
we had shocking results.
We've had history of coming in with very poor form and just sneaking over the line. It's funny too that I did hear an interesting stat that we've only spent 2 weeks out of the 23 in the 8.
Doesn't matter, does it?
Doesn't matter. 23. But I would say, and I just said it, I'll repeat it again. We are playing the best football we've played all year right now.
Like a fine wine.
Like a fine wine
with
ready
age.
to go boom.
I don't think our optimism is misplaced. I think
it probably is, but let's get going with it.
Yeah, well, we head into final series in previous years, and it's only after these final series or after we lose that we sit there and go,
we looked horrible.
We weren't that good, actually. And 2019 against the Eagles, I think we all saw that coming.
Oh, yeah.
We really did limp in.
The one against Adelaide I knew was going to be horrible.
Yeah.
What year was that? That was like
09.
Was that 4? Yeah, well, that was horrible.
I wasn't mad about football.
We didn't have a ruckman. I remember we played
Lovett Murray.
Lovett Murray as a ruck. Oh god, it was horrible.
And Michael Quinn. I have a vision burnt into my head of him weirdly dancing on halfback, taking little steps on the spot, not knowing what to do with the football. That is ingrained in my memory. And then, obviously 10-goal losses to Carlton in 2011. Close game against North, but we should have been up. Well, we were up by 5 or 6 goals, and then we had one really bad quarter against Sydney, and that was it. That was enough to...
What we're saying is to all these Essendon supporters that we know are listening, we've got scars.
Yes, we've got scars.
Deep, hurtful scars, and we know they can be opened up on Sunday.
There's been some things happen this year that's just made me less pessimistic about these things. When we played North Melbourne, especially the first time, they were awful then. We beat them by a good margin. We beat them by 12 goals. Gold Coast, we come up against a team who was dropping off towards the end of the year.
And we beat them.
And we beat them by 11 goals.
And Collingwood, even the second time we played North Melbourne and Collingwood,
Collingwood, we really could have beaten them by more, but I can forgive them for a bit of self-preservation.
But at no stage did they look like they were going to get us.
No, never.
And good sides do that.
Yeah. So, this is going to sound arrogant for a team that finished 8th.
Oh, go, Sam. Let it go.
We seem arrogant. Playing against Collingwood, we were playing like, you're not going to beat us. Like, yeah, they got on top in the midfield, but it's all right. We've got some handy defenders down there. We win the ball out of the midfield, we can score quickly. We just play like we're going to win.
Whereas, see, the reason I'm not going to say arrogant, confident.
It's a much better word.
Cocky. Is confident. That because I watched the Doggies played last week against Port, and the thing that stood out to me was the fact that they'd gone into the ruck contest against and at I've forgotten his name again. He's really Lysette, thank you. He really doesn't tick a memory box. He's a big, strong, dominant ruckman. Like he's a bash and crash kind of good tap ruckman. Like and he smashed them. Now that didn't for the whole game correlate to the midfield dominance, but in the end it did. And I really feel as though I really thought that the Dogs would have picked Sweet this week, who's their other ruckman, who's a pretty strong young kid. I've watched him play a couple of games. And I don't know. I just feel as though that if Draper plays like he has the last 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, he's going to give our midfield a lot of opportunity.
Even against English,
yeah. Yeah, but English, they can't name that side the way they've named it and expect English to ruck a lot. English is named
him as a forward,
Yeah, English is named to play as a half forward who will go in as a backup ruckman, really, because they're not all of a sudden. Lewis Young is not going to go down and play forward and be a dominant forward because he's never done it before. Whereas they've picked that side so that Tim English is there. Now I reckon this is when James Stewart could be useful.
Well, the old Essendon me just went until this game.
That's
the part of me that
he
goes,
6,
he's probably going to kick 10. Yeah. That's what the pessimistic Essendon supporter
that's what we've been burned into it. Yep. But I think that James Stewart, who's like 199-ish centimetres against Tim English, who I'm guessing is like a 205er.
We can do some.
You can check that. Yep.
Here.
So he's going to be the only guy that's going to get close to him from that
Tim English is
defensive.
207.
Oh, jeez, that's tall.
But he's not strong, and I think
No, that's right. Yeah,
there's a
and
big
that's
difference
when
between
guys like
tall and strong.
Laverde's going to get involved. I think
Has to be
they're
Stewart.
it'll be definitely Stewart, but Laverde will be a second man up. Or there'll be times when, say, Stewart gets caught out chasing someone else, and Laverde has to be the one against him, because that we see that happen too. But Laverde's got the muscle just to boomph and mark him.
And I've watched limited amount of Bulldogs this year. I think earlier in the year when them and Melbourne were both flying, I watched a bit of them.
Yep.
English is a good footballer. Don't get me wrong. Like he's capable to go forward, lead. He's pretty agile for his height, so he can move around a little bit. But if they're going to use him as a forward, they're losing out big time in the ruck.
Agreed.
If they're going to use him in the ruck, they're missing out on a big forward. And without Bruce, Bruce played 99.9% of the game against us, and they still didn't win. But to lose him is a massive, massive thing for their structures.
And exactly, Bruce also adds to the as a half forward. He goes down back, usually late in quarters, and plays as an extra sort of tall defender down there, or he does the backup ruck too. But he's done that most of the last few years. Like, he adds that. Now, they're not going to get that out of Tim English. He's not going to go float down to the back half and, with that last 2 minutes to go, just to protect the score in the second quarter or something like that.
Yeah. Now, on move away from the ruck, Jewel, because I think...
I love a ruck, Jewel.
Yeah, well, that's an obvious one to talk... Not an obvious. That's a good one to talk about now, because that's a good spot where we're going to get an advantage.
I'd hope so, yeah.
When we think we can get an advantage.
We should. I'm got to have confidence in Draper. He's been playing so well. So, yes, we will.
Sort of looking at the rest of it, I think their mids are well down on their output. That's sort of concerning to me that at any point, guys of the class of McRae, Bonton, Pally, Liberatore can bounce back and have a good game.
But this is why I like the Caldwell addition, because of his
strength,
the type of player he is. Yeah, he's a strong, hard midfielder. I like it.
And then we still can't forget that we do have our own Rolls Royces in the middle, in Zach Merritt, Darcy Parish. Jake Stringer, quote, was the best player in the competition after the bye, according to Champion Data.
It's good to throw that little bit at
I
the
love
end.
throwing that in there. I have to say Champion Data, because otherwise it just sounds like enough. Champion Data's enough data anyway, but... Move on. That's beside the point. So, while their mids do concern me that they're class, the Dogs do have the best midfield in the comp. If
Ours have been very classy.
Look at them. Ours are pretty good too.
Yep.
Is old mate playing Trelaw? Yes, he is.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by the sort of the mix, or the forward defensive mix or matchups, because our defenders, I think guys like Ridley and Laverde and Cutler are going to have really interesting games if they play, like a guy like a Wakeman, if West comes into the guide, Bailey Smith, they're going to be really interesting how they match up against those sort of, they'll probably throw like a Hunter down there or something like that at different stages, or Dunkley will go up forward.
But Dunkley's and Bond.
But Dunkley's like, you think of Laverde and you go, Dunkley can, Laverde can cover Dunkley. Like, I'm sure he's got him for height. I wouldn't have to check that, but they wouldn't be a mile apart, and he's got him for strength. So,
well, I guess
all of a sudden our matchups look good, I feel. Like, they're not someone that I'm really worried about.
Yeah, and you assume, I think last time out, Ridley played on Norton.
Yes, you're
Norton,
right.
and I thought in the air was pretty convincingly beaten. Norton just missed a fair few shots at goal.
Yep.
So I reckon that matchup might change, purely because they also don't have Bruce.
Well, who do you think? Would it be Laverde?
Maybe Lav gets him a bit stronger.
But it's all about, Norton's all about leading. That's why they might have gone with Ridley, because he might be a bit.
Well, I don't think it worked
quicker
last time.
Yeah, I agree. But
and then Wakeman has come into that side, so maybe that's a better matchup for Ridley.
Or the difference might be that because there's Laverde or Ridley, whoever takes Wakeman can come off their man to help with the Norton issue.
Yeah. It's not always direct matchups.
Yeah, that's right.
It is going to be different to last time, purely because they don't have their A1 forward.
Yep. Who came third or was on track for third or in the Coleman?
He was up there.
Oh,
He didn't come third. Rewalt came third. Absolute travesty that Jack Rewalt didn't make the All-Australian 40. Just quietly.
There's another topic. We'll just change them.
Yeah, good one, actually. All-Australian 40 released. Parish.
Oh, we're
Merritt,
changing topic. I was being sarcastic.
And,
No, you're right.
it was worth talking about. And Stringer. I don't think anyone didn't see that coming. From
No, they're
Essendon
about the
point
only
of
three
view.
I would have.
I've seen a lot of comments about Ridley. I don't think he was good enough throughout the year. He was great. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he was
he's got a lot of
All-Australian
competition,
40 good enough to squeeze in there. There's a lot of talent in that side. And
Yep.
I don't have a lot of arguments other than Buddy out, Rewalt in.
Oh, what about who was the Fox one that they had some player that wasn't even in the 40?
ESPN sent an email around their suggested best 22 and they put Harris Andrews in it, who from my research and searching is not even in the 40. So
It's just making it up as I go.
fact check, ESPN. Sorry, that was a bit of a side note. I thought you were serious. You know, us and our segues. Yeah.
I also am interested too. I just want to make a quick point about the Doggies' 3 ins that they've listed. Being 2 smalls and a tall defender, a 195 or something like that. Gardner, he's reasonably tall, I'm guessing, defender. I assume that if it's wet, I mean, they might not make no change. There might be a no change sort of thing. But out of those 3, I wonder if they go smaller or tall. Because I wonder what their strategy is to try and stretch us.
Forecast is 13 and rain. So I don't think it's going to be an overly pretty game of football.
They're not going to.
The fact it's wet naturally leads to it being close. Hopefully.
The only thought I had was about the tall was because what lost them last time was Peter Wright.
Well, they got
away
Keith back from that side.
Yeah. So what's his name? Shaki. He played on him last time, didn't he?
For at least a half, yeah. Well, no, I think he did the full game. He had a good first half, and then Pete.
So you should
split system got away.
Yeah, Keith on him. Williams.
I'm trying to get this nickname going, and I don't call him by the nickname I've given him.
It doesn't help.
Split system. Tell him, mate. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, I guess that's all my thoughts. I'm just thinking about, are they trying to attack us with 2 small forwards, or are they trying to defend us with a tall defender? That's all my thoughts were. Well, the tall defender seems a bit silly if it's going to be raining and they've got Keith in the side and they've got Shaki on the bench, because that would be their defenders. I mean,
can't go in too tall, obviously, but the bigger bodies towards the end of a wet game can be quite damaging.
And as I recall, the first half of that game last year, a few weeks ago, Francis was pretty influential. So I couldn't tell you who played on him.
No, sorry, neither.
Opposition
analysis is your department.
Well, they might be thinking about that as also. So,
well, Francis had a great game that day without kicking the goals. I think he kicked 2, but obviously
kicked 2 early ones.
Split system kicking 7.
Yep.
But it was again overshadowed.
Again, it's what he's been doing up the ground and the importance of
which
all
is
that,
what he's done the last couple of weeks as well.
Yep.
He's not kicked goals, but has been pretty influential in his
other
roles.
And I hope that he can do that again this week.
And although Big Pete split system kicked 4 against Collingwood, our
you really got to work on it.
Yeah, I know. He's just got so many names. I just love the man. I was shocked to see him kick one out on the full, actually, against Collingwood.
Yeah, I
couldn't believe it.
He's not even trying against Collingwood. He's like, nah.
And it was great, though, because he was still 4 straight at the end of the time. Not 4-1, 4 straight. It'll be interesting if it is very wet, because that changes. I mean, obviously, when a guy kicks 7 against you, that's a big mental barrier and a big deal for you. If it's wet, you can't really see a big forward having that kind of influence.
You could assume in that game, I can't remember the exact score, but I think we kicked 14-14. No, was that last?
No, that was the other game.
Yeah. We kicked it nearly 100 points. So 15-7. Now, we're probably not going to kick 15 goals, but it might be more 11-5 or 11-12, and they might, kick less than us, I hope. But, I'm not expecting that sort of similar scoreline down in Tassie in a wet, sort of wintry.
No chance. We were under the roof at Marvel.
Yeah. But I would hope that our structure is still sound, because the interesting thing is going to be how we deal with Bontempelli, how we deal with Treloar, Hunter.
Well, I think
McRae.
The key thing is, I mean, we say it just about every week, but our greatest strength is the midfield. So if we can have that same influence out of the midfield and get it forward, it's not then on the forwards to mark the ball as much. It's on the forwards to contest, bring it to ground, and then it's the rest of the forward line, the smallest, to lock it in there.
Yeah. I would say too on that I reckon in the last few weeks our defence has been really, really
I think our back
impressive.
six has been great. Yeah.
Yep.
84 against the Dogs would be the biggest against we've had.
Mm.
So that was 12-12.
All up, I can't see us losing this, Sam.
Round 22 against the Suns, 4 goals 6 we conceded. And last week against Collingwood, they kicked 9 goals 10. Let's not forget Adelaide had their lowest ever score against us not that long ago.
It's funny.
Last game of football we could go to.
It is funny because I have to take myself back just 3 weeks ago when we did play last time. And I sat here, and if people want to go back and listen to it, give it a like and make a comment. I sat here and listened. I sat here and listened to Sam give all these stats about how much the Doggies had flogged us in the last
and how
7 or 8.
Anti.
Yeah.
Or how pessimistic we were for that game.
Yeah, and I sat listening, go, there's no freaking way we're going to win this
game.
We're
sitting here with the exact opposite. We're
3 weeks later, I'm like, we can't lose it.
We can't lose it.
We are idiots. That's what it is, Sam. We're idiots.
I think the term is nuffies.
Nuffies. Is there an eye thing, like with the one?
What?
One-eyed.
Oh, one-eyed. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't get that.
Yeah, no, you didn't get that at all.
One-eyed nuffs. I think nuffs is the word you go with these days.
Oh, there's no reason, but we just believe it.
The critical thing here is we are not. I mean,
alone.
Actually, the general population, we are almost expected to win this. But for us, we thought we'd be bottom 4. Maybe bottom 6 if you're optimistic. I don't think there'd be any of the most optimistic Dons fans out there saying, yep, we are playing September football. I mean, we're not even, we're playing late August football. But you would not have had us in finals.
No, I agree, 100%.
So, big tick. So now,
and that's
all
why
I would have to say is that don't get flogged.
But that's why we're going in with such a positive attitude, is because we're so happy with the way year's gone. And I don't think, I hope not, that a loss will change that. I mean, a horrible loss would be embarrassing.
I think the margin's going to have a big sort of influence on that. But God almighty,
but just to go back,
I have got so many things planned in my head for if we win that.
Just to go back on your saying that most of the world thinks we're going to win. We're $2. I know we don't like to talk odds on this thing. We're $2.47. They're $1.55.
I believe we're actually the longest odds of the round still.
You're correct in saying that. Yes, we are. Now I don't feel it.
That's all. I'm happy to be underdogs. I think there's a bit less pressure when.
I don't feel it though. I mean, I don't feel $2. I will be putting $2 on us.
$2.
I don't like to get too big on it.
In other breaking news, Nathan's retiring next week with his $4, whatever it was, $5.
Come on, Sam, do the maths.
I couldn't remember what you said. I first of all had to remember.
$2.47 times $2.
$2.47. I thought you said $2.55 for some reason. My maths was right. It was just the initial number was wrong.
Yeah, $4.97. Well, I think they ran it up to $5.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think we're justified this time to feel optimistic. That's not to say if there's any more disappointing should we lose. As long as we can walk off that ground, heads held high, saying we got beaten by a better side, a side that still has some bloody good players in it that are just playing poorly.
They better go on to win the flag.
But at the same time, if we win, this podcast is being recorded under a certain influence of alcohol. I feel I should say alcohol. Alcohol's not as bad as inferring it's drugs.
Okay.
Under the influence of alcohol.
I've had a couple of beers, yes.
A bit of fun. No, like on Monday, or let's be honest, probably Sunday night.
I'll be drunk Sunday night. If we win, I will be. It's a good chance it could be a call into work saying, I can't make it down to my office.
Good thing none of our fan base comes from.
Oh God, no one listens from the office.
I wish they did. There's a couple of Carlton supporters there that I'd like to remind where they finished.
Yeah.
13th or 14th and 4
13th,
wins
I
behind
believe
us.
it was, Sam. Yeah,
4
yeah.
wins.
13th.
4. Can't
Four.
believe I was
Was
ever
it
worried
4
about it.
wins?
They won 7 or 8, did I say today? Maybe 8. Maybe
I
it
don't
was
know.
3.
Yeah, 3 seems better.
3 or 4. Anyway,
Yeah.
garbage, Carlton.
Hey.
What
Anyway,
a shit
what about
club.
us? We're about us. We're about us, Sam.
No, we can enjoy Carlton being terrible. What a shit club that place is.
What an ordinary
David
club.
Teague,
Right
I feel
now.
sorry for you. You have been thrown under the bus, not been given a chance to run that football club in any
Ordinary
way,
club
shape,
right now.
or form.
Ordinary
Poor.
club right now.
Just poor. Anyway, any final remarks? Any final comments? Anything to regret?
Well, we've got to do just the
Yeah,
tip.
we will. But I'm
Oh,
just...
no, nothing further. I think we could go through the players individually, but that's
No.
No.
I think my final thing is that have faith. I have faith in this side. I have faith in this coach. If it's not this year, if it's not next year, it will be not long after that, I'm sure.
I feel very strongly the same, Sam, in that I'm not worried about this year. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm really hoping we win. It'd be lovely to get that monkey off the back, lose the week after that, and it's all, no one talks about our last bloody, how long it's been since we won a final. Just get that shit off the back. And then next year, we might not even be as good, who knows? But the year after that and the year after that, we will be competing for right. We'll be in the top. We'll be in the pointy end.
All right. The give us the biggest tip of the year.
The tip with Sam and Nath.
The biggest tip.
I'm going to go Bombers by 17.
All right. I am going to say...
You better not say Dogs or you're fucking that's right.
Essendon by 25 because it'd be Jake Stringer's number and a Jake Stringer will be the difference.
Like it.
Against his old side.
Love it. Jake Stringer for the best on ground or something.
I just love Jake Stringer.
Yep.
Let's be honest. The package. All right.
All right.
Good luck, Dons fans. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Have a bit of fun. Don't let it get you down if it doesn't go our way. Just enjoy the footy we're playing and the boys that we love watching.
Dons!
Go Bombers.